How are we? How are we? Hello everyone and welcome back to another deadline stream. It is game week 4. We are back again for another week. Thank you all very much for joining. Nice to see so many of you in this morning. I hope you've had a nice international break, but it is good to be back. It is good to be streaming. It's good to have some FPL to talk about. Just before we start, some of you probably won't notice, the majority of you won't notice, but the mic is not in shot, which always means I'm somewhere else. I have a wedding today. 2 of Holly and my lovely friends are getting married. So it means I'm not at home, which means I always have a nice random setup. And it is incredibly hot in this room because I'm in like a summer house in the garden and I'm very hot, but we are here. So if the audio doesn't sound quite right or anything, that is why I am at a wedding today. So I'm not at home, but I take all my stuff with me because of course, we don't miss a stream. We don't miss a stream. You prefer the dark blue? I haven't changed it for the stream yet, but I will play around whether I prefer the other background. So let's get in. I am already married. Yes, it's not my wedding. Let's get in, and before we start, let's say hello to a few of you. Hello and good morning to Kieran, Ewan, Veron, Doran, Fiona, and Jonathan. Who else have we got? Duncan, FPL Verts, Carter, and Johnny. Welcome as a member. Hello to all the members and moderators in this morning. Veron, BL, and then to everyone else. Fred, France, Walter, Alex, Odin, Mohammed, Boyth, Wolverine, Via, Bassam, FPL Oliver, Kieran, FPL Josic, Rob, Sandy, Sean, Evie, Ewan, Yusuf, Ruben, FPL Victorious, Tom, Zed, Maynard, Joe, Ospike, Goldstones, 40. The timer is wrong again. Sorry, and then to everyone else, Stephen, France, Nix, Jude, Mike, Igor, Abdullah, Alif, Craig, Mario, and everyone else. I will update the timer. I will get the timer fixed. I will get it fixed, don't worry. So, first of all, let's talk a little bit about my team. So I've got Sanchez and goal, Porro, Anderson, Agbadu, Rogers, Salah, Bruno, Reinders, Sarr, currently in João Pedro, and Ollie Watkins. 1 free transfer. I do think if I don't make a defensive move, I will play Agbadu. I just think the chance of DEFCON for him is much higher than Williams and Esteve, so I will take that extra couple of points from him. Yeah, so I'll take an extra couple of points, hopefully from Agbadu. I might still end up making the Senesi transfer. I don't think I'm going to sell Ismail Sarr just yet, because there are a couple of things in terms of replacements that make me a little bit nervy. First one is I really wanted Illiman and Dye. Yeah, first one I would want Illiman and Dye in there. I can't afford Semenyo. And the other one that I quite like is Paqueta. Now, I could go to Grealish now and Dye's out, but I do prefer and Dye longer term. I could go to Paqueta, but he played an awful lot of minutes for Brazil in pretty high altitude. Over the last week. So I'm not sure I love the Sarr replacements enough. And I know like Chris Wood has Arsenal away, but I think it's most likely I play that. Is whether I think the defensive transfer for Senesi is really worth it, because he's useful for me in game week 4. I'd play him this week and I'd play him in game week 6 if I don't free hit in game week 6. This game week 6 free hit is still a little bit up in the air, and it will depend a little bit on whether I want to buy Haaland into my team, how Aston Villa get on. So he improves my team for 2 weeks, definitely. But after that, it's not guaranteed that he definitely gets into my team from game week 7 onwards. So there is uncertainty in my mind about whether I need to go and buy Senesi into my team or not. Do I think Cole Palmer will start tonight? My prediction would probably be no, but I think it's probably pretty 50-50. If you've got Cole Palmer in your team, I would definitely keep him. I wouldn't look to sell him because I think he'll be back next week. I'd be much more inclined, if you own Cole Palmer, to bench someone to improve your bench in case Palmer doesn't feature. Is probably what I would do if I had him. I think I would just I would upgrade. I would change a defender and have a bit of a better bench in case he doesn't play. When am I looking to wildcard? I think this week is a particular pain point for a lot of people's teams. But actually, if I look at my team next week, right, I think my team actually looks all right. I'll probably play a back 4. Porro, Agbadu, Williams, Anderson. That's pretty strong. If Sarr was available, I'd play him and play a back 3. But Wood against Burnley, Fernandes at home to Chelsea, who will, play in Champions League, Salah, Rodgers, Watkins against Sunderland, and then João Pedro. And then game week 6. So this is the other week that I would potentially use Senesi, because I'd play him over Anderson, who's got Villa away that week. But outside of that, Reinders, Rodgers, Salah, Bruno, Wood, João Pedro, Watkins, my team looks pretty solid. So that's the other thing with the, if I want to buy Haaland that week, is this is what my team is going to look like in game week 6, and who am I going to sell from here in order to buy Haaland. Now, if Watkins is not performing and Salah's not performing, then yeah, I just sell both of them. So I'm not sure, but it's more whether I think Senesi for the long term is worth a transfer into my team, because if I do plan on wildcarding late, let's just check their fixtures. From game week 6 onwards, I don't there are some weeks here which, if something went wrong, the thing is, I need to change my mindset here. It is about the depth that it adds to my team, but I'm not going to play him in 10. I'm not going to play him in 11. I probably wouldn't play him in 8. So I'm a little bit uncertain on whether I need to make that transfer or whether I just roll with it like this. And yeah, whether I roll with it like this and don't buy Senesi for Estev. Because with Agbadu, it's pretty difficult to judge him. He's played City, Bournemouth. Okay, they conceded a lot of goals to Everton, but the fixtures coming up look pretty nice. I will play him in a lot of those games. So I can't afford Sarr to Semenyo, unfortunately, Seb. That would, yeah, I would have had very different content this week if I'd have been able to afford Sarr to Semenyo. If you can afford that, I would definitely do it. So Iliman Ndiaye is considered a doubt. It's considered a doubt. He's definitely not ruled out, but Everton basically didn't know whether he was going to be available or not. Some super chats. Good morning, Harry. Strand Larsen and Sarr to Mateta and Gakpo for free. Yes, if you got 2 transfers, I probably would do that. Strand Larsen sounds like he is going to be a frustrating one with not really a time frame and is likely to be out for a fair few weeks. So if you've got Strand Larsen, I probably would look to sell him. Thoughts on Rice as a potential Sarr replacement? I have considered Rice. He's good this week, not so good for the next two. You could always play him. And then you get a little bit ahead of the Arsenal fixture turn in game week 6, game week 7. So I don't mind the Declan Rice punt. I'm just not sure quite how many attacking returns I fully expect from him. But I don't mind it. Madueke will start. He's in my free hit. So if you're on free hit or wildcard, we're not going to discuss it loads during this stream. But in my complete guide video, I did 3 different wildcard drafts and I did a free hit draft. So if you need those drafts, they're all in that. Why buy Senesi and not Lacroix? It seems you have ranked Lacroix higher. Yeah, because I've got 0.7 million in the bank and I'm going to sell Estev, would be my plan. So that would be, I wouldn't have the money to go up to Lacroix. So I could do Estev to Senesi. I think I prefer Senesi to the 4.5 million Palace defenders, but I'm not sure I prefer Senesi to the Lacroix and Munoz, is basically where I'm at. If I could get Lacroix or Munoz, I probably would do that. Yeah. Buy Semenyo or Mateta this week? Probably Semenyo. I don't quite know what the transfers are, but I think Semenyo probably. I think there's like over half. I think I heard on the official pod that there's over 500,000 wildcards active. Victoria's Secret. Strand Larson to Mateta or João Pedro. Thing is, Mateta is much better this week, but I do prefer João Pedro long term. So if you can stomach that there is a risk to João Pedro this week because of the late return, I think João Pedro will start. Like, I think he will. He only played half an hour in. Bolivia, so I think João Pedro will start. I think he will. Thoughts on Rice? We've done. Scared of a 15-minute cameo. Would I start King, Elliott, or Palmer bench 1? I probably would bench Elliott because I think he's also got a chance of a cameo. Diouf or Murillo? Diouf over Murillo. I am not a huge fan of the Forest defence this week. I think they could be in trouble. That's why Williams is so far on my bench. Just take Sarr out and Senesi in. I mean, I could do Estev to Senesi. Yeah, that is a potential move for me this week. Yeah, 700,000 managers have bought Isak this week, and there's like 500,000 for Ekatike as well. So someone's going to be disappointed because it's unlikely that they play together, I think. Thoughts on starting Reinders over Mateta in a free hit? I wouldn't do that personally. I think the Sunderland home fixture, I feel like having Mateta is just almost a lock on a free hit personally. I can understand it if you wanted to bet against it, but going no Reinders on free hit is a good way to go against the people not on free hit because the ownership of Reinders is very, very high. Semenyo best Sarr replacement still leaves me 2.7. Yeah, like if I hadn't bought Chris Wood, I would almost certainly be doing Sarr back to Semenyo this week. Yeah, basically all in all, my game week 3 transfers have gone pretty badly. They've gone pretty badly, yeah. Will Caicedo play? Yes, I expect him to. There's a chance it's Lavia and he might not play 90 today. We might see an early sub for Caicedo if Chelsea are winning and Lavia coming on, but I expect a lot of those players to play. It is just the Bayern Munich away game midweek, and then it's the Bayern Munich midweek and Man United away next week. There is a little bit of minutes concern for some of those Chelsea players, but I think we'll put out a pretty full strength team. Who to bench out of Watkins, Porro, Kudus, Richarlison? I probably would bench Porro. I'd bench the defender. Probably. When would I plan to bench boost and free hit? So I might free hit in 6. And I might... There's a possibility that I bench boost in 7. There's a possibility that I would bench boost in 7. But until I know what's happening with Ismail Sarr, I don't really have that. I don't really have the luxury. Someone was saying I'm a little bit quiet, so let me... Apologies if... I'm just gonna turn up the volume, so be careful because it's about to get quite loud if you had it turned up. Cunha to Gakpo or Mbermo, thoughts? I'd go Gakpo. Like, if you're... I'm not sure on Mbermo. I'm not sure I'd be buying United at the moment, I think. Am I currently planning on rolling? It's either rolling or doing a Stev to Senesi. I'm not sure the transfer is that worth it. It's more whether I like the depth of my team going forward. Pope, Elanga, Timber, Lacroix, or Valvekos, Burn, Livramento, Raya. Probably the Elanga route. Bench 1 of Wood, Rogers, Reinders. I'd be tempted to bench Chris Wood there. I think Forest have the lower chance of scoring. I think. Sorry if I've just hurt anyone's eardrums. The timer, I was just trying to... It's just... yeah, the timer is broken like last week. So it seems to be that where it's pulling it from is half an hour behind. I don't quite understand. But I will try and get it fixed. Why not go to a Crystal Palace centre-back over Senesi? I think I prefer Senesi over the Crystal Palace centre-backs because I also feel I'm going to buy Munoz or Lacroix further down the line for Williams or Porro. So I'm not certain I want the double up on Palace defence. Like, I think the Palace fixtures are good, but it is more about, like, this week in particular. Because Everton away, like, Everton have been scoring goals, and I believe that falls straight after a European fixture for Palace. Then it's Bournemouth, then it's Arsenal, Brentford, Brighton, Wolves. Like, they're not bad, but I will probably look to buy one about here. So I think the short-term fixtures, Senesi has better. Would I own Senesi or Anderson on wildcard? I'd almost certainly own both of them. I think they'd be the first 2 defenders in a wildcard draft. If I had to pick one, I think I'd probably go Anderson. It depends whether you need short-term fixtures or long-term fixtures, because Anderson has a nice run about game week 10, whereas Senesi's get a little bit more difficult then. Thank you for watching. 4,000 of you in. If you could drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new, that would be very kind of you. Can you gamble on the Captain Watkins? I'm not sure I have enough faith on Captain Watkins. I'm not sure I have enough faith on Aston Villa as a whole to Captain Watkins. Transfer Sarr for a hit. Already done. Strand Larson to Gyökeres. Murillo, Estev. If Guiu's your bench, then yes, I would sell Sarr for a hit. Yes, I would. Wouldn't I start Senesi in a back 4 and bench Wood? No, because I'd bench Agbadou. I prefer Chris Wood to Agbadou this week, so I would play. I'd play Chris Wood over Agbadou, and I'd play a 3-4-3. So let me just walk you through what it looks like, and the reason I'm slightly conflicted. If I just reset to game week 4. So if I don't play him, right? If I don't make the transfer, Leeds at home this week. So I play Agbadu. Next week, I don't need him. He's probably going to be benched for me regardless in game week 5. I plan to play a back 4 if Ismail Sarr is not available. Porro, Agbadu, Anderson, Williams, Rogers, Salah. And then in game week 6, he would get in. He'd get in over Anderson in my defence, so he'd get in there. And then in game week 7, I will probably look to buy an Arsenal defender in place of Williams. So I will probably do Williams to Gabriel that week. But if I don't do that transfer, if I do that transfer this week, I probably don't have the spare transfer to buy Gabriel in game week 7. So it is better for me long term to not buy him. But if I do buy him, if I do a Estev to Senesi, game week 5, he's on the bench. Probably. Maybe not. Game week 6, he starts away at Leeds. And then game week 7, I probably wouldn't be able to do the Gabriel transfer yet. So it would be Williams. It would be something like that. So I really like his DEFCON though. I really like his DEFCON. And do I think that I could outscore my... Do I think he could score 4 points over those defenders in those few weeks? Like, yes, quite possibly. So that's why I'm a little bit conflicted. Because his DEFCON numbers have been so good that it does make me just want to go and buy him. Would I play Sarr? Would I do Sarr to Kudus or Xavi Simons? I think I'd go Simons over Kudus if I had to buy a Spurs midfielder this week. Why Paqueta over Kudus? Kudus has had 2 shots this season, one of which was inside the box and has a total of 0.06 XG. Paqueta's long-term fixtures are really nice. Now, it depends when you plan on wildcarding, because if you're going to wildcard in the next few weeks, then I probably would go Kudus and just hope he gets better. But if you're not going to wildcard until 13 or you're on wildcard now, I think Paqueta is a better long-term pick. You think Newcastle at home is good for Senesi? I actually agree, but I don't know where he'd get... I don't know who I'd bench. I don't know who I'd bench this week if I was going to play Senesi. I mean, if Sarr was going to be available, I'd probably bench boost next week. But I don't think Sarr will be available, so I don't think I can. I mean, I could sell him for a hit and bench boost next week, but it probably only leaves Paqueta as a potential option for me this week. Now, I don't mind the Paqueta hit this week. I'm not completely against it because some of these long-term fixtures are not bad. And then I probably would bench probably that. Mateta or João Pedro for free hits. Yeah, I'd definitely go Mateta, especially with the slight risk of minutes for João Pedro. Why has Murillo's DEFCON been so bad? It's just the way that Forest have played this year. They've decided to keep a little bit more of the ball. It hasn't worked in terms of results, but with them keeping more of the ball, it means that they... yeah, they haven't been as great for DEFCON. You're not sure Chris Wood will start? Is it because of fatigue or is it because you don't think Ange will like him? Because there's 2 different arguments there. I'm not completely against it. The thought that Chris Wood might not start, which makes me wonder about just like, because if I took the -4, I'd probably bench boost next week this. I'd have Dubravka, Paqueta, Reinders, Senesi. I probably would bench boost this week, although I think it looks Game week 6, it's all right. So yeah, I am tempted by the hit. I mean, I'm tempted by so many things. Just like planning that hit, being able to play the bench boost next week. So yeah, I'm a bit conflicted this week. I'm a bit conflicted. Yeah. One sec. Cool. Buy Verts. I don't think I'd buy Verts, but if you're in one of those positions where you've still got him, I definitely would keep him this week. I definitely would keep him. Yeah. Gay or Munoz? Is Munoz worth the extra money? Yes, definitely, I think so. I spoke about this in the complete guide video that I think it's worth the money you pay for your Palace players, so yes. Would I free hit Calafiori and Enzo or Barnes Livramento? I'd go Barnes Livramento and I'd double up on on Newcastle for Wolves at home, especially without Strand Larsen. So yeah, I was planning on buying Illiman and Died this week, but yes. Is using wildcard now bad timing? No, I think Andy's on wildcard. I think there was a chance. If I had probably one more issue in my team, I probably would have played the wildcard this week. I do think I was quite close to it, but I think I just about can get through. I am wondering about Sarr. I don't know whether it's worth a hit though. Don't know whether it's worth a hit to sell him. But the only issue is I did this. I have this really weird recollection of really weird recollection of a time I kept Hazard early on in the season and he was always close to being back. He was close to being back and I kept him when he was injured and then he was close to going back and then he never came back in time and it just tanked my rank every week because I was just playing a man down basically, and I have it in my head. That I need to not do that with my team, especially early on. Would I sell Strand Larsen and Sarr from Mateta and Paqueta for a hit? Probably yes. Probably yes, I would. Yeah. Percentage-wise, how likely are I to get Senesi? If I'm honest, right now I think the most likely scenario doing that planning is to get rid of both of them and take the hit for it. And just make my team better. Because I really like Paqueta long term. It allows me more... I'm all for squad depth at the moment, and I wonder if that's the best thing to do. It does mean I'd be benching Chris Wood away at Arsenal, which I don't know how I feel about that, but It's either Chris Wood or it's Reinders. I could bench Rodgers, but I think I'd bench Chris Wood. Who would you bench if I bought Paqueta this week? If Villa don't cook and you're left out to dry, you're going to be wildcarding. I'm not. The earliest I'm going to wildcard is 6. I'm going to at least give Rodgers and Watkins game week 5. To be honest, Watkins will probably get until 7. Watkins will stay until I want to sell, until I want Gyökeres, basically. Watkins will go to Gyökeres most likely. So in 7 or 8, I will sell Watkins to Gyökeres. Rodgers will stay until I want to get rid of him. Oh, Mark, let me take a look. Should I swap Semenyo for Sarr and Watkins or João Pedro for Gyökeres for a -4? I wouldn't do the forward one at all. Kudus or Xavi Simons? I'd go Xavi Simons. Captain Haaland or Mo on a free hit? I would probably go Mo. I'm not sure I'd triple captain. I'm not sure I'd captain Haaland over Mo. Salah is top. Mateta or João Pedro, free hit. We've done. Leaning towards getting Haaland in 6 with 2 frees. Yes, that's probably the option. Why Paqueta over Grealish? I'm just not sure. I think the money will be more useful to me than Grealish has been great, and maybe I'll regret it, but I actually am not certain how good. Let me. So I do wonder a little bit how good the Everton fixtures are. Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, Palace, City, Spurs in the next 6. I'm just not as in love with them. And then once you get to game week 10, I'm not certain I love the fixtures as much as I first thought. Reese, it instantly happened. It did. Timer still isn't working. We've got an hour and a half to go until the deadline. Please like the stream if you haven't already, and subscribe if you are new. Don't want to plan such that you have enough funds to switch Salah and Watkins to Haaland, Palmer in 6. Well, for example, going for like Paqueta gets me closer to that as well. Going Paqueta would get me closer to that, I think. Sell Chris Wood and buy Mateta. I did consider it, as I could do Wood to Mateta to do Sarr to Semenyo, but I still like Chris Wood for 2 of the next 3. I'm just not certain I'm definitely going to buy Haaland. And I know it sounds crazy now, but I'm not sure it's worth 2 transfers once I get to game week 6. Like, my team in... Like, if I don't make any transfers, but let's say I did Sarr to... Let's say I had done Sarr to Paqueta. Like my front 7 just looks so good in game week 6 that I find it really difficult to use 2 transfers to buy Haaland. It's more captaincy than anything. It's more I don't have someone I'm happy to captain. FYI, same game week 1 team as you. 3 free transfers. Palmer, McGee, Williams from Mateta, Semenyo, Senesi. If so, who would I bench? Probably Reinders. Like, I think Reinders is fine, and I actually think he's better this week than he has been because of the Marmouche injury. But I think if you're ever faced with it, Reinders feels very close to like Morgan Rogers last year for me. That if I'm ever in doubt, I probably will just bench Reinders. Like, I definitely would play Rogers over Reinders this week. Definitely. Fair enough. Gakpo or Semenyo. Much prefer Semenyo long term. Yeah, much prefer Semenyo long term. The other reason that I like Paqueta is... Ooh. I just think the West Ham fixtures are pretty nice. And that sort of window from 8 till 12, I do think his fixtures are not bad. Although, like, his data's pretty non-existent. But he still put up 0.4 XG against Forest, even without the penalty. I just like him as a cheap option, I think. Why Paqueta over Rutter? I'm just not a massive fan of Brighton, and I find buying their players really difficult because I feel like they rotate more than everyone else, and I feel like they don't ever tell us when players are actually injured, and we've already seen that with them. You're sat on 7 million but don't want to make transfers. And am I being too patient and playing catch up already? This is your team. Sanchez, Richards, Van der Ven, Gabriel, Salah, Vert, Semenyo, Reinders, Rogers, Watkins, João Pedro, Wood and Williams bench. So I think you're in the same position as quite a lot of people. That your rank is not great, but you're still pretty happy with your team. And I think that's absolutely fine at this stage in the season. We're 3 weeks in. I wouldn't massively be concerned about the rank. Yes, we'd all like to be higher up. And yes, I would much rather be higher up. But, like, things change very quickly. And having a team that you still feel like you are happy with is by far the most important thing, I think. West Ham is awful. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hertzler I mean, he doesn't tell us anything. That's why I don't really want to buy Brighton players. I know the countdown clock is not there just because it's still wrong. Like last week we had the same problem, so I need to sit down, and I thought it had fixed itself last week, but yeah. Please drop a like on the stream. There are 5,000 of you who haven't liked the stream, so if you could, that would be great. Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe if you are new. Watkins to Mateta. Like, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure I'd use a transfer on that this week. Sarr and Olorina out for Gabriel and Grealish. Yeah, like, I just feel like that's much better for your squad. Dude, someone asked me to sing the song. I didn't just burst into song. But it could be the first opportunity to play Agbadu. Why hold on to Villa players when they aren't playing well? So you're not wrong. When we look at the data, Aston Villa have created the second lowest amount of XG so far this season, right? 0.84 per 90. It's not good. It's not good. But when you look at them in terms of fixtures, they still have probably the next 4 fixtures. They have the best of any team in the league. So I still plan on holding on to them for a couple of weeks. They might go in game week 6, but I'm going to be starting them both in game week 4 and game week 5. I take a little bit of positivity that Everton are 18th for XGC conceded so far this season over the first 3. Sunderland, on the other hand, who they play next week, are 4th. So I don't know how much I can use that as a narrative. Man United are top. I mean, they're top of XG because they have had more penalties than everyone else. So, well, they've had more penalties. That's why Brighton are quite high up there. So, but even without penalties, they're still in the top 5. Surely Villa will come good. Surely they will. Will Palmer start? I personally think he won't, but I do think there is a chance. Like, I don't think it's categorical he won't. Daniels, 3 free transfers. Saliba, Palmer, Watkins to Senesi, Paqueta, Haaland. Saliba's back, so I wouldn't sell him. I suppose you need the money. But no, I don't think I would do that. I wouldn't do that now, no. Would I do Sarr and Dorgu to Paqueta and Munoz and play Diouf, or Dorgu, Diouf to Senesi, Lacroix? I don't know who your attacking cover is if you're doing the 2 defensive moves. If you've got someone decent for... I probably would do the first couple. I would say as the stream's gone on, I'm now back in favour of taking the hit. No, United have had 2 pens. Bruno missed one. You think João Pedro starts? I probably do, yeah. Why is Bruno so important even with tough fixtures? He's not. But I brought him in game week 1 and I'm not going to sell him. Like, the fixtures are not bad. Hey, we're back. Thank you, Captain. If you're watching. The fixtures are not bad. Like, there's never a point where I think the fixtures are so bad that I need to sell Bruno. Like, I think they're actually coming up quite good. Like, City away, Chelsea all right. But then Brentford, Sunderland, okay, Liverpool. But then Brighton, Forest, Spurs, Everton before I potentially wildcard. So, he's just one of those that's never going to be the biggest issue in my team, I don't think. Like, am I ever going to need to use a transfer? Like, I would have sold Bruno now if not for other pressing issues. And that might be the case. And if I didn't have other stuff to do, then maybe I would have sold Bruno. But it doesn't feel like the biggest issue in my team. Been holding off in buying Gyökeres until he has good fixtures. But should I just bite the bullet and get him for Watkins anyway? Seems like a must own. I'm planning on waiting until 7 to make that transfer. 7 or 8. Watkins has Burnley at home in 7, so I don't know if I'll do it in 7. It depends if I buy Haaland, because if I don't buy Haaland, I'll do Wood to Gyökeres instead in 7, and then I'll own Wood, Gyökeres and Watkins. But I just don't know. Part of me is just like, take the 1 week of Haaland at home to Burnley on the chin, but if he scores a hat-trick. Paqueta is worth taking a hit to buy. I don't think he probably is in this week in isolation, but... So, I mean, let me talk through my thought process, which doesn't make loads of sense, but some of you might agree with it. My thought process is if I'm going to do the defensive transfer, I don't think Sarr to Paqueta is worth a free transfer, but if I would just do a hit to do it and get it out of the way, then that makes more sense in my mind than to use a free transfer on it. Like, if I'm using a hit, I'm not using up a valuable free transfer, so I can just do the extra hit and just get rid of Sarr and not worry about it. Issue is I might go back to Sarr. Like, Sarr could end up being my Rodgers replacement. Because from game week 8, when the fixtures get pretty bad for Villa, they start to look quite good again for Palace. What do I think is more priority, Arsenal defence or attack? I would say attack, especially because there's no DEFCON. Because there's no DEFCON for the Arsenal defence. Murillo to Munoz for a hit or start Dorgu Murillo. I'm not sure I'd do it for a hit, no. I mean, if I go Paqueta, I could go Munoz. But it doesn't help me in 6. I'm still then left with a bad defender in 6. Watkins worth a punt on wildcard or just go... I'd just go straight to Gyökeres. I'd just go straight to Gyökeres, I think. You have Wood... So I would leave Sarr, no point taking a -4. Yeah. I think Palmer is unlikely to start, but I think he potentially will. I think I'd say 40% chance he starts. I know that's not that helpful, but start Agbadou or Williams. Well, I've got Agbadou in my starting lineup. What to do about Saka? I probably would sell him. Yep. Would you have Bruno on wildcard? No. So I put up 3 wildcard drafts in my complete guide video yesterday. If you are looking to play a chip this week, I would go and make sure you watch that because I've got 3 wildcards, one with Salah, one with Haaland, and one with both. And I've got a free hit draft, and Bruno Fernandes is in none of them. So no, if I was on wildcard this week, Bruno would come out. Walter is an option. He's nice and cheap, but I still think I need to see from him some performances before I definitely go and buy him, I think. Best Cunha replacement. I mean, it's the same as the list of best midfielders to buy, right? So it's the likes of Semenyo, if you can. Well, I mean, you can, so probably Semenyo. Best midfielder for 6 million, Paqueta. You're about to get best midfielders in the top right, my top ranking. So have a look at that. It will have the answer to all those midfielder questions. Antoine Semenyo, number 1. Gakpo. Oh, it can't be Ndiaye, can it? It was Ndiaye before the... It will be Grealish instead of Ndiaye now. Am I not thinking about Senesi? I think I've spent the past week thinking about Senesi. Yeah, absolutely I am. I don't know is the answer. Is the points difference for Senesi over Agbadou worth it? Which of your 3 wildcards do I prefer the most? I'd go, if I was on wildcard, I'd go Salah only. I'd go Salah, no Haaland if I was wildcarding this week. Start Johnson or Woods. I'd play Johnson. What is the attraction of Agbadou? He's just not bad for DEFCON. It's basically all there is. It's actually not been as good. He got 14 against Bournemouth, where I benched him, and then he got 6. The only benefit to the hit is it allows me to play the bench boost. Sarr's out probably until game week 8. Let me check the price changes on him. Because I can't really afford, like, if he's going to drop... I mean, he's not predicted to drop, but... Captain Verts or Ekatike, Afraid Isaac. I'd captain Ekatike, yeah. AFA, you have 6.1 for a free hit defender. You have Munoz, Lacroix. I'd go Gabriel. Gabriel or Van Dijk. Probably Gabriel, but it's quite close between the two. Would I consider Sarr to Enzo? I'd be more inclined to go and take the money because I like the West Ham fixtures long term. I like the West Ham fixtures long term. I just quite like these DEFCON strong midfielders. That's why I like Paqueta, plus being on pens. And he looks like he's playing 90 every week. Why is Salah better than Haaland? I actually don't think Salah is better than Haaland long term. I just think for the next 2 games, I'd rather Salah than Haaland. Burnley away and Everton at home versus Man U at home and Arsenal away. I just think short term, I'd want Salah. Why Senesi over Marguerite Lacroix? Because it helps me in game week 6 if I'm not going to play my free hit. Basically. I prefer him over the 4.5 Palace defenders. Chip strategy. If I take a hit, I'd bench boost in 5. So, I mean, let me just try this. If I did Sarr to Paqueta, I could do a Stev to... Oh, I can't go Munoz. I thought I'd have enough. Okay, well then it is Senesi. It is then Senesi. At 4-6, where is he? I mean, he's predicted 1.5 more than him. In game week 6, he's predicted another 1. So that's an extra 2 points. In 2 expected points. I can't get to Munoz. And I'd probably bench boost next week. Reinders, Senesi, Paqueta. Oh no. I mean, I don't even know. Like, my bench boost would be something like that. And maybe it's worth it because you do know Paqueta played 90 for Brazil on Wednesday. Yeah, there is that as the other factor. That is the other thing that puts me off it. But it probably gives me a bench boost next week. Like, I would definitely bench boost this. Dubravka, Anderson, Senesi, Reinders. I think I'd almost certainly bench boost that. Why not bench boost 8? It just means that I would have had to have dealt with double Villa and I've got like Anderson at home to Arsenal, Senesi. I could do 8, but I think I'd probably just look to get it out of the way. I think if I did it, Matt Williams to Munoz, Esteve to Senesi, or Rogers to Semenyo. I would say Esteve to Senesi is probably the biggest upgrade there. Carry over the bench boot, the transfer, and can still bench boost. I can't because I've got Ismail Sarr, who sounds like he's not going to be back until game week 7 at the earliest. I'm not going to sell Watkins, no. I'm not going to sell Watkins or Rogers. Well, that's the other benefit of going Senesi is that I don't have to play Agbadu. I do worry a little bit about my team value. Keeping Sarr again. Have I thought of rolling the transfer? Yes, I've thought about a lot of things. I've thought about rolling. I thought about doing a Stev to Senesi with 1 move, and I've thought about doing a Stev to Senesi and Sarr to Lucas Paqueta with a -4. Game week 5, free hits for Haaland captainers. I think you mean game week... You'd free hit in game week 6. If you've got Haaland, you could free hit next week, I suppose, to get rid of him for Arsenal away. But I'm not sure I mean, you'd probably triple up on Liverpool. I'm not sure the rest of the fixtures are good enough next week to play the free hit, if I'm honest. Jared LFC, I'm slowly coming back to that thought process. People are really concerning me about Chris Wood in the chat. For anyone who watched me on above average FPL on Thursday night, they've just posted the meme of me. I'm not looking for advice on my team. I like it like this. That Adam was doing. Oh, it's too funny. I spent the next like 2 hours. Majority of you have got absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But if any of you understand the reference to the meme that I made just then and I made on the show, then let me know in the chat, because some of you will. You OG FIFA players will know. Thank you. Yes, subscriber only mode. Literally have to subscribe for 1 second to be able to use the chat. Yeah, those of you... Panthers. The new FIFA is next week. I finally got around to ordering it the middle of last week. Finally got around to it. I've always been tempted to stream some FIFA on a separate channel or something. I've always been tempted by it. Yeah, I've always wondered about it. Maybe when the new one comes out, but why not? I mean, I've got my second channel, which I've literally never uploaded on. So maybe I stream on that. Although I think it's really difficult to stream FIFA on YouTube because the music's copyrighted and you can't stream music on YouTube. So I think I'd have to do it on Twitch. Have I asked for likes yet? I've asked for them sometimes, but if you want to like the stream, that's Pete asking, not me. Pete asked me to ask, but also subscribe. No news on Palmer. My prediction is he gets some minutes, but I'm not sure it'll be... I'm not sure it'll start. You can turn the music off, I know, but then it's just a little bit like... I feel like it's a bit boring. But anyway. Watkins dropping again tonight. I mean, I'm not going to deal with that one. Unfortunately. Pope, Calafiori, Virgil van Dijk, Anderson, Munoz, King, Salah, Gakpo, Haaland, and Walter. That's your free tip. What do I think? Your free here looks pretty... Yeah, it looks nice. I like... If you're going Haaland, Salah on free hit, I think the King pick is a really good idea at 4-5 to allow it to happen. So yes, I do quite like that. Strand Larson and Porro to Gyökeres and Senesi or Mitchell for wildcard 12 path. I like Gyökeres, Senesi. I like that combination. Yeah, I'd probably look at that. Why not considering Brennan Johnson? I just feel like his minutes are all over the place. I said this last week when people considered buying him, and he got hooked to like 57 minutes, which was the main thing that put me off. I may be wrong, but you can stream, just not upload the video. Oh, maybe. I only play Ultimate Team on FIFA. On wildcard, do I keep Watkins till 7 or go Gyökeres now? I'd definitely go Gyökeres now. I'm not sure it's worth a transfer as good as the Villa fixtures remain. Livramento or Burn, probably go... I'd probably go Livramento. Why do people keep insisting on Kudus and Brennan Johnson? I think it's the fixtures, but I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of them as picks, I think. Not a big fan of them as picks. Why don't I do Wood for Mateta and Sarr for Paqueta? Because then I give myself a crazy benching headache this week. Mark Guiu, keep or sell. You have one transfer. If he's on your bench, he's fine to keep. But if you're needing to start him, then I'd sell. I do think there's a chance he starts tonight, though. With Palmer and... He'll get minutes for sure, I would say, tonight. Will Illiman and Dye play? Illiman and Dye, if you own him, I'd probably start him. But if you don't own him, I would probably not buy him. He's definitely not a buy. Why don't you just roll? It's like Paqueta versus Wood, so just roll this week and decide next week. So there is that you're probably right. The only thing it does is I want to roll in 5 because I want to have 2 free transfers in 6 in case I want to buy Haaland. So I don't want to have to use a transfer next week, and it's about value on Sarr. So, yeah. Arguably, Watkins and Rodgers have a bad fixture this week. I mean, Everton have been a bit different this season. They've been quite good going forward and less good defensively than they have previously. But it's not the best fixture, I agree with you. What's my plan? Sarr, game week 4 and Williams going forward. Williams I'll play and I'll probably sell to an Arsenal defender in 7 or something, is the plan. Up at 4 a.m. in Texas, you're obsessed. 1 free transfer, Senesi in for Agbadu or Williams or roll. I'm not sure I want to sell Senesi or Williams. If you're going to free hit 6, you can sell all your Forest players all you want. But if you're not going to free hit 6, I'm not sure how much I'm not sure how much I'd do that and I'd want to sell him. I'm on the tee at the moment. But I'm at a wedding. I'm at a wedding all afternoon. This is a really small thing, but the reason I've been looking at my phone is I've been talking to Reese, who makes this site. And one of the things that when you flick back and forth, it used to change the screen that you went back to. But he's just messaged me that he's found the way to fix it. So that's very exciting. Reese, if you're watching, is working. Rodgers or Reinders, who to bench? I'd bench Reinders, definitely. Only just jumped on the stream, so sorry if you had, but is Palmer in? I would say my expectation is Palmer will be on the bench, but I don't know. Yeah. He might well start, but it's just Bayern Munich. If we didn't have Munich midweek before Man United away next week, I would say he starts, but it's those other 2 fixtures. Someone said that Paqueta is predicted to rise. I don't think he will, unless he scores today, because a lot of those transfers will slow down once the deadline passes. Unfortunately, I don't play Champions League Fantasy. I get asked this every year. I like to have some football as that I can watch without having to think too much about the fancy element of it. And I could just play it for fun, but I don't like... when I play a fantasy game, like you see with me with FPL, I play it wholeheartedly. I don't play just, oh, let me. So I'd either forget about it, in which case there's no point, or I want to play it properly. And as Chelsea are back in the Champions League, I just want to be able to watch the tournament. So I tend to play one. It takes up enough time doing and playing one game. So I like to just put all my focus into that. Bench Anderson or Porro, please. How long have we got? We still got 45 minutes to go. Will I be getting Raya for Sanchez? No, I actually really like the Chelsea fixtures, pretty long term. And I like the way, I might think about it on wildcard in 13, but I'm not going to sell Sanchez until I wildcard. I would say the Chelsea fixtures are pretty solid for quite a long time, that I will just keep Sanchez. That's the plan. It's one of the few positions that I don't feel like I need. Thoughts on triple captain Salah this week? I personally would wait until I see a little bit more from them. If you want to triple captain Salah, they play Sunderland at home in game week 14 and West Ham away in game week 13 and Leeds away in game week 15 before he goes to the African Cup of Nations. That's when I'm using my triple captain, I think, in one of those weeks. Haaland also has really good fixtures at the same time, so if Salah is not good, you can save it and play it on. They've got Leeds at home, Sunderland at home, West Ham at home. I'm going to save it and play it then. I'm not going to play in game week 6, I don't think. Rutter versus Paqueta. I just don't really want to buy a Brighton player. They don't tell us when players are injured. He drops in and out of the team. They have too many attackers. I feel like I've got a rule. I'm done buying Brighton players. It's a bit like they have the same risk that you get with City, although Pep actually tells us when people are injured and they're a better team. Although Brighton did beat them last weekend, so maybe I'm wrong. Wood and Watkins predicted to drop tonight. I'm not going to sell either of them. But it does make me inclined to look at the Sarr to Paqueta move because I don't want to lose so much value on my team. Senesi's not really predicted to rise yet. Sells Milenkovic, toss in Porro, but would I make any transfers this week or roll? No chips planned for the next 3. Sells Milenkovic, toss in Porro, Tielemans, Dewsbury Hall, Semenyo, Pedro, Dubravka, Esteve, Wilson, Heaven. No, I'd probably roll that. Pelag. And Sal, let's look at yours. No clue what to do. Porro, Van der Ven, Conta, Elliott, Anderson, Mo, Bruno, Reinders, Wood, Pedro, Watkins, bench, Sarr, Esteve, Senesi. Esteve, Anderson. Well, I would start Anderson because presumably that's the other one. And I don't think you need a transfer there. Reinders or Paqueta and Gyökeres or Pedro on wildcard. Gyökeres and... Reinders or Paqueta. I'd go Paqueta and I'd go João Pedro for the short term. Is Eze a good buy? He looks like he'll probably start today. I think Madueke was my big punt on my free hit draft. And if I could have afforded Eze, I probably would have put Eze in, but I couldn't afford it with the rest of the draft. So I like the Arsenal options. It's just once Saka's back, which is probably going to be next weekend, that I'm not a fan of buying them long term. It's crazy how many games are in London today. I know. Normally they try and spread them out. Arsenal at home, Palace at home, Fulham at home, West Ham at home, Brentford at home. Plus Chelsea also then playing in London. Spurs also playing in London. 7 London teams all playing in London this weekend in the Prem. I don't know why they didn't just move like Fulham Leeds to Sunday. Maybe Fulham Leeds isn't, but like West Ham, I suppose Spurs have got Champions League, so they wanted it there, but Brentford Chelsea was going to be... Who did I miss? Which team did I miss when I counted all the London teams? Charlton, like there's loads. Charlton, Millwall. I don't really understand it. Although like Fulham, Leeds and like Brentford, it's not like, I would say West Ham, Spurs is the only one that they need loads at. But what do I think of Xavi Simons? I think he probably starts, and I like him more than I like Kudus, but you have more of a risk associated with him this week, basically. Leeds will surprise me today. I hope not, because I need some points from somewhere. JP96, Sarr and Di Palmer, 1 free transfer. Take a -4 to get 2 of those out. And just start Williams and Wan-Bissaka in bad fixtures, Semenyo and Grealish, Semenyo and Munoz. I'd sell Sarr to someone you like and play and hope that one of Ndai Palmer. But if you need all 3 to start, then yeah, I'd take a -4 and upgrade a defender. Will Enzo start? Almost certainly. He plays pretty much every minute for us. So yes, I would say so. I would say so. Ross, FPL Raptor tweeted the team yesterday for Newcastle, and he has said that but he's just said that he got it wrong, and apparently Alanga is not starting. So if you're on free hit, I probably would avoid. It looks like Barnes is in all of them, so you can probably go Barnes if you're on free hit. I wouldn't go Alanga now. If I had Palmer and Ndai over Sarr and someone else, I probably would make defensive transfers and have some squad depth in case they don't start. Play Paqueta or Xavi Simons. I play Paqueta over Simons. Yep. When am I looking to free hit? I don't. That's the chip. I don't really know. Yeah, that's the one that I'm not certain about. Sorry, I just froze again. I know people love it when I do that, because if I get to 6, like I don't need a transfer in 6. Really? Like, I don't need to free hit in 6. Oh, by the way, if you aren't in the leagues for my main channel league and my FPL league are both in the comments below, and there's like half of you in watching who are not watching it at the moment. So we are donating 10p to charity for all of you inside the top 25k by the end of the season. So if you want a chance to donate some money to charity, please do so. I'm currently ranked 13,000th in that league. There are lots of you doing much better than me already this season. But if you aren't in that league, please, link is in the description. I'm trying to just donate some money to charity. So if you want to get involved, please do so. If it was based off last year, I would have donated about £700 to charity. But it's going to be, I'm hoping, you know, lots of you do well in it. I also changed it from last year for anyone who's in it. You had to beat me last year, which didn't really make sense because if I did well, I donated less money, so it didn't really work. So we just changed it. If you finish inside the top 25k, I'll donate money to charity for every single person who does it. You'll love that you're at the bottom of your mini league, so the only way is up. I like it. Long term, Kudus or Paqueta? Paqueta long term, yeah. Thoughts on Walter free hit differential? Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Let's check some of the super chats. Rogers to Gakpo, Sarr to Kudus, Krupa Jr. to Mateta for a hit. I'm not sure Rodgers to Gakpo is worth a hit. I would probably just do the other two. And Rodgers to Gakpo doesn't free up any money, so you can just ignore that one. Electro, 1 free transfer. Would I sell Bowen or Sarr or roll? Have Wood and Die. I probably would look to sell Sarr. I wouldn't look to sell Bowen. I think they might be turning the corner. It's the only issue with selling Paqueta because they might not be. We'll join now. Perfect. I can actually, let me put the link in the chat. And it's also got the code as well. If you just click this link, it will join you to the league. Just joined. Love it. Let me post it. Let me pin it. There we go. Good luck this week. Thank you. Barnes or Elanga? I'd go with Barnes based off what we're seeing on potential lineups. Let me charge my phone in. Yeah. Dorgu or Williams? If I had to play one, I'd probably go Dorgu, I think. A replacement for Palmer, I wouldn't. I would keep Palmer, and if you want to make a transfer to increase your bench depth, I would do that. I would do that. Dorgu to Senesi or roll and start Diouf. I probably would start Diouf if in your situation, yeah. I probably would. Nothing on the Arsenal team yet. They are the early kickoff, but should I start Sarr or Wood? I'd start Chris Wood, yeah. I'd start Wood. Is Van der Ven to Munoz worth it or a bit sideways with the fixtures? Sorry. I can't even remember what I just read. Oh, you missed Man United. We're mentioning the London teams. Very funny. I can't remember. Do I know if Gvardiol is fit to play instead of Aït-Nouri? Yes, it's likely to be Gvardiol back in. Replacements for Marmoush, Semenyo, Grealish, Paqueta, all good options. How many minutes do we think Wood even gets? I think he starts. Like, he might not get 90, but he's done it before, and then he gets a full week off, I think. It's only Champions League this midweek, so they don't have any fixtures midweek. Senesi or Porro in the 11. I'd play Senesi over Porro. Is Enzo worth having? I really would like Enzo. But it's my worry that it blocks a Chelsea, like if I want to go back to Palmer. Andrew, is Van der Ven to Munoz worth it for a hit sideways because of the fixtures? I don't think it's necessarily worth a hit in any week, but if you said to me you'd done it for a hit to get it out of the way, I absolutely have no problem with that. So part of me would say, you know what, let's do it. It's very similar to the hit that Praz is considering this week, which is sells to Raya. It's definitely not worth it this week, and it's probably not worth it over the next 3 weeks. But in game week 7, you'll have other things to do, so maybe it's just worth doing it. Would I captain Haaland or Ekitike? Haaland over Ekitike. Haaland over Ekitike. Thoughts on Ekitike as a 2-week punt instead of Mateta? If you're definitely going to wildcard afterwards, then I think it's fine. 3 transfers: Sanchez, Virgil, Gabriel Murillo, Richard Destev, Palmer, Salah, Anderson, Rogers, Sarr, Alfredo, Watkins, Guiu. Should I? I'd probably look to sell Sarr. Yeah. And I'd keep Guiu until you've got enough money to upgrade to a more expensive forward. Chasing, you have Sarr and Olarina. Free transfer Aina to Lacroix. Start Porro and Kudos over Wood. Or -4 like last week. Sarr to Paqueta, Aina to Munoz. Add Goodmanson on the bench. I quite like that -4 if you're chasing. Well, I mean, we're all chasing at this point, really, aren't we? Yeah. Why you replace Agbadu to Senesi? Why not Mark Gay? Because I think I want Munoz or Lacroix long term. I think I want Lacroix or Munoz long term, yeah. Yes, the deadline timer. The deadline timer is always set to finish 1 minute before the actual deadline. So if you're trying to add it up, it is right. Deadline is in 33 minutes, but it's set to finish 1 minute before so that you will have time to go and do your teams and not miss the deadline. Because there's a 30-second stream delay, plus you need time to do your team, that if it was set to the actual deadline, people would go, oh, there's 10 seconds left, and by the time they got to do their teams, they'd miss it. For 352, who do I get for Sarr and which forwards? If you're on Gyökeres, Haaland, Mateta, João Pedro, in midfield, Semenyo, Salah, Gakpo, Wirtz, Grealish. Meso, I just had a look, and I probably will look to sell Sarr. Senesi worth for Rodon, Anderson, Porro, Decupia. I would do Decupia to Senesi, yeah. Is João Pedro a doubt? He's not a doubt to be in the squad. Like, it's not an injury. It's more, is he going to get enough minutes and is he going to start? Because he played in Bolivia, but I only played 30 minutes. So I think João Pedro starts. I do wonder that there are a few things coming back off the international break that maybe the hit is worthwhile. Will Palmer play? I'm almost certain he'll get some minutes, but... will the Aussie manager bench the Kiwi striker? I don't think he will, but it's possible. Semenyo for captaincy. Salah's away record at Burnley is not great. It's very difficult to look at someone like Salah's away record against Burnley because a lot of that is under a different manager, it's a different team, and it's quite a lot of years ago. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I still think he's the best captain. How nailed do I think Tosin is for Chelsea? So I think he's first choice, but with Champions League back, we saw Maresca rotate heavily last year when there were easier fixtures. And the issue I've got is I think Tosin will play almost every game. But in game week 9, they have Sunderland at home. And that is the real game you want him to play. And it's also the game he's least likely to feature in. So I'm not sure I'd buy Tosin. I almost put him in loads of the wildcard drafts. And I thought, no, because it will get to a point like that. Sunderland game falls straight after Chelsea go away to Forest after the international break. We have Ajax at home in the Champions League midweek. Then we have Sunderland. And then the following weekend we have Spurs away in the Champions League, Wolves. So it's the easiest games that you want the Chelsea players for are the ones they're most likely to miss and not play. So play Anderson or Chris Woods. I'd actually be tempted to play Anderson because I think he's very likely to get DEFCON in this game. And if he does, his space is just higher than Chris Wood. Do I know percentage -4 is being taken? No, let's do a poll in this chat. What are you doing this week? Wild card or free hit? Roll/no hit taken. -8 or a minus. No hits. Free transfers only. Let's see what you say in the chat. Can you talk you through you roll this week in a similar position, just a worse rank? I mean, because my team looks good next week, that I don't feel like I particularly need the transfer, but the -4 this week allows the bench boost next week. Is basically the thinking. Like, I'm probably going to need to bench boost before I wildcard because I'm going to go with Dubravka wildcard. And, I mean, I could bench boost 16. I could bench boost 18, but there's not loads of great fixtures there. Maybe 18, but that feels like a real risk to leave it to like the last week. So I do have to get rid of it. So, thoughts on Munoz or Senesi? If I could afford Munoz, I would definitely go there. Bowen or Reinders? Bowen. Bowen does lose. Like, I don't think... If you've got Bowen, you keep him and you play him. But I think Bowen's... I'd be very surprised if Bowen's ownership ever gets above like 10% again this season. Because if he's not on pens now, Paqueta's got them. He just loses like a big chunk of his appeal. Munoz captain. I don't actually hate it. I don't hate it, but I don't think I would do it. I think there are other better options this week. Start Palmer or King. Palmer may only get 10 minutes. I think I'd probably play Palmer and just hope he plays more, but I'm not sure I could... If Palmer was benched and King started, I think I could accept that. But if I played King and Palmer started, I'd really... yeah, I'd really not like that. When am I going to use the triple captain? So the plan on the triple captain is after the wildcard. So 13 to 16. Both Salah and Haaland have good runs of fixtures, so I'll probably use it then. If I... what was I going to say? I can't remember. I've done that twice today. Cucurella or Senesi. I mean, there's a lot of difference in value. I prefer Cucurella over Senesi, but I don't like... Yeah, it's what else it allows. Raya and Burnley, Livramento or Pope and Timber. With Ben White being back, I'd go Raya. With White being back. I think the triple captain, if you want to play it in 6, it's fine. If you want to play it this week, it's fine. If not, there are so many good opportunities later down the line. Wood to Gyökeres or Sarr to Semenyo? I would say Sarr to Semenyo is probably better. Watkins, hangover. Watkins to Haaland, Bruno to Dewsbury Hall, Palmer to Semenyo, or stick with 4 Chelsea. You have Palmer, Sanchez, Guiu and João Pedro. Haaland has 6 goals. I'm not sure I'd do that. I'm not sure that's worth 3 transfers to do, personally. Sell Ekitike for Gyökeres for free. Definitely not. I much prefer Ekitike for the next 2. Start Palmer or Reinders. I'd start Palmer over Reinders, I think. For Munoz, Ekitike and Richarlison. For Agbadu, Watkins and Woods. I wouldn't buy Richarlison with them getting... They've got Kolo Muani now. It still sounds like Solanke will be back sooner rather than later. And they've got Champions League starting now, so I wouldn't buy Richarlison. Only 20% of people taking a hit. 20% of people on a chip, though. Interesting. Interesting. Illiman and Die, we don't really have an update on it. So, like, if you've got him, you play him. If you don't have him, you don't buy him, basically. Like, he's going to end up playing and he's going to end up scoring, and I'm going to wish I bought him over, like, Paqueta if I buy him. Will I make a transfer? I will. I don't think I'm going to roll. I think I might just play the value and take the hit. I'm already losing value early on. 20% on a hit. Start Wood or Dewsbury Hall. Probably Dewsbury Hall over Chris Wood this week. Any suggestions? Richards, Murillo, Diouf, Porro, Bruno, Salah, Reinders, Kudus, João Pedro, Watkins on the bench. I just play Palmer over Murillo and probably roll, I'd say. Why not Lacroix? I could go Lacroix over Senesi, but I am planning on saving the free hit in 7, and I like Senesi for it. I could do Paqueta, Lacroix. I could do that, but I think I want Munoz, but it just means in 7 I'd still have a bad defender. What's my plan with Sarr? Hold or sell next week? If I'm going to sell him, I'm going to sell him this week. If I hold him past this week, I will... if I hold him past this week, I'll hold him until he's back. People saying Sarr is predicted to drop tonight. He's not anywhere near predicted to drop tonight. The Fantasy Football Scout price change predictor is, I believe, linked in the chat. Yeah, I'll put it in, but he's not predicted to drop in price tonight. One second. Yeah, and those people wondering, Live FPL has been ranked the most accurate price change predictor so far this season, with 75% accuracy on risers, and is also top of the most accurate predictions of fallers as well, and it's completely free. Live FPL and Fantasy Football Scout are the same. They have a partnership. They just pull one from the other. What if Villa blank again? Then I'll probably keep them for Burnley away. For Sunderland away next week. Sidan, thank you for joining as a top tier member. To get all the perks, all the links you need are all in the WhatsApp area, in the membership area on YouTube. So have a look at the descriptions of all the perks. There'll be a link to join the WhatsApp community in there. So thank you very much for joining. Which two out of Gibbs White, Wood and Diouf? Morgan Gibbs White, Wood and Diouf. I would probably bench one of your Forest players, probably Gibbs White. And Ndoye over an Everton mid? No, I definitely wouldn't go Ndoye, no. Some people saying Scout are predicting... I can get it up. Can also get the price changes up as well. Cool. Some people are saying that they're predicting Chris Wood doesn't start. I mean, it's a complete gamble, right? They've gone with Igor Jesus. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. What do they say about it? Who knows what up his sleeve for the first match in charge. Here we go. And may use Chris Wood's long haul track for Moshan as an excuse to get more mobility up top, either in the form of Jesus. Wood was benched for the fixture in similar circumstances in 24-25. In fact, Ryan Yates in the midfield too for this daunting game. Interesting. Interesting. Grealish or Paqueta? If I had the money, I'd probably go Grealish. Probably go Grealish. Haaland triple captain now, worth a gamble over triple captain in 6. I don't think I'd triple captain him this week, no. Not with all the injuries they've got. If it was a fully fit, fully firing Man City side, then maybe, but I don't feel like we've got that at the moment. Sell Larson for Evan Nilsson or hold rolling your free transfer. I would sell Strand Larson this week. Unless you've got bench cover, which could allow you to sell him to someone different to Evan Nilsson in a couple of weeks, like Strand Larson, for example. Sorry, like Gyökeres, for example. But I would look to be getting rid of him, I think. Bruno or Rodgers out for Gakpo. I'd sell Rodgers probably. Start Rodgers or Dewsbury Hall. I'd go Rodgers, I think. It's close though. It's close that. It's Enzo on pens. I mean, I still think that João Pedro might be second on pens. Because I posted about this and we're never going to know now. Because I don't know when the next time there's going to be a penalty where Palmer's not on the pitch, really. But I think João Pedro gave Enzo the pen. I was at the stadium and I saw him give it to him. Whether the conversation they were talking about was something else, but I don't know. But I still think he gave it to him. I still think he gave it to him. Start Dewsbury Hall or do Strand Larson to João Pedro. I probably would do Strand Larson to João Pedro. I think you'll want to do that transfer most weeks regardless now. Why do I prefer Senesi over Lacroix? It's partly to do with the fixture that it gets me in game week 6. I just like his cheap... I just like his cheapness. And I want to buy someone who's not in Europe. There's a part of me that just wants to buy some players who are not in Europe in my team. Because all my players are playing in Europe and they get injured and they play too many minutes and then it stresses me out every week. Part of me just wants to buy someone that I just don't have to worry about more than once a week. Would I have Ekitike on a free hit? Yes. Free hit, I'd have triple Liverpool attack. I'd go Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, yeah. Thoughts on holding on to Palmer or transfer to Kudus? I wouldn't do Palmer to Kudus, no. Kudus is not in my top midfielders to buy, I don't think. The reason I like Paqueta is the long-term fixtures for them are quite good. Like, once you get to game week 8, Paqueta will be really popular. Paqueta will be the most popular Rodgers replacement, is my prediction. Rodgers down to Paqueta in 8 is going to be so popular. If we can stomach holding Rodgers till 8, people will do Rodgers to Paqueta once the Villa fixtures turn. Start and die, probably. It depends. Like, in die or Chris Wood, I'd probably play in die. If you want a free hit draft, it's in my complete guide video from yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening. So go and check that out. And if you're on wildcard as well, I'd go and check that out. Thoughts on Xavi Simons? I really like him. He's probably the best Spurs attacker, but I'm just not guaranteeing he starts today. I think Xavi Simons will start, but I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't think it's guaranteed. How are the price changes looking? The issue is right before the deadline, everything gets spiked up because it looks like loads of transfers and it basically thinks that it's going to make loads of them for the rest of the day. Like, there's no way Lucas Paqueta is going to jump from that until 120 today, because once the deadline passes, there won't be any transfers for him. And like Ismail Sarr is the same. Senesi. Like, these players won't rise. They'll rise if they do something, but they won't rise if they don't. Why not Noni Madueke? because I think he's great until Saka comes back, but I think Saka might be back for the City game, so that's the biggest issue. As always, if you see anything in the chat or on Twitter that you want me to see or want me to have a look at in terms of team news or anything, and yeah, then let me know. Let me know. Will Frimpong start? I don't think it's guaranteed. I think if you have him, I probably would start him. He looks like he's in full training, and I think Burnley's a great fixture for him. It's just who they want for Atletico Madrid midweek, but I think Bradley might be better suited for that game. So I think whichever right back isn't going to start midweek, I think would start. I don't think it'll be Szoboszlai. Liverpool fans might tell me I'm wrong. I think Eze is a good pick on free hit, just like Madueke, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're good picks long term. Right. So, just trying to emphasize. It still leaves me 0.7 in the bank. I'd roll next week. And then in 6, I can wonder about going Haaland back. If I want him. If not, in 7, then I go... And I'd probably bench boost next week. Leno, Raya, or Pope for the free hit. Leno or Pope. Actually, all of them are good. I'd probably go Pope. You can only start 2 between Watkins, Evan-Nilsson, and João Pedro. Thoughts? You also have Reinders as a starter. Then I'd bench Reinders. Definitely. Reinders would be the easy bench there, yeah. Play Wood, Paqueta, Porro, or Kudus. I think I would bench Porro. Kieran, I've had a look, but the top reply is that it fixed itself. Or do I just roll? I think the least likely situation is the one transfer now. I think if I'm going to sell Senesi, I'm also going to just sell Sarr. What would I regret most? Probably if I took the hit and it went wrong. It does just look much stronger with the hit. We've got 10 minutes. Buy Senesi. No, I would be buying Senesi. Watkins out for Mateta. No, I wouldn't do that. Watkins, best mid for Cunha, Semenyo if you can. On free hit, Sarr and Pino or Laquaran Barnes. Laquaran Barnes. Got 4.1 in the bank. Would I sell Sarr or Guiu, and to whom? I'd sell Sarr downgrade, leaving money for Guiu up to Gyökeres probably. Between Watkins, Munoz and João Pedro, thoughts? Yeah. Sarr to Paqueta allows Haaland 6, but you have Bowen. I'm just sick of having issues in my team every week. Like, what happens if I get another issue this week and then I've got to deal with it again next week? I just want the depth. I think I just want the depth. I've spoken all week that I want the depth in my team, and I've spoken about it. And I said if Sarr was out, I was going to take a hit, and he might not even be back for 7, and he might not even play an 8. Should have wildcarded. Maybe. FPL is making Harry crash out. If you're new around here, this is a weekly occurrence. I don't know. I actually really don't know. I really don't know. Let's do a poll, shall we? Oh, I've got to end this one. Cool, it's... No, I've spoken that I want the depth. I've spoken always that I want the depth. It's done. It's done. It's done. Now let's sort things out, shall we? One sec. I'm not hiding my team. I just need to get it up because it's blurry again. Well, roll bench boost next week, most likely. Avoiding some price drops, and we'll see how it goes. Let's answer some questions. Play Diouf or Agbadou? I'd play Diouf over Agbadou. Would I do Murillo to Munoz? It depends if you need Murillo in 6, but probably. Bowen and Sarr to Gyökeres and Paqueta for a hit. I don't mind it if Bowen gets you to Paqueta. Yeah, it knocks me back. I've already looked. The hit knocks me back like from 3.2 to like 3.8 million. And if I end the game week anywhere inside the top 4 million, then that would be fine. But am I ever going to start a Twitch channel? I might do. Harry has lost it and we're 4 weeks in. You're probably quite right. You're probably quite right. Oh dear. Here we are with a -4 3 weeks into the season. If my defence was fine, would I take this hit or start Dewsbury Hall for Sarr and roll? I'd start Dewsbury Hall for Sarr and roll. Yep. We have 3 minutes to go until the deadline. Start Reinders or Chris Wood. Wood goal loading. To be honest, if Wood scores, at least it means he's going to stay in the team. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing, really. Triple captain Gakpo. Probably not. I'm not sure this is the week to do it, personally. Esteve or Diouf to Virgil van Dijk or Munoz. I'd go Esteve to Munoz if you can. It's probably my favourite. So, take a -4 or do Ndai out or just play Chris Woods. I think because Ndai will be back next week or could even play, I wouldn't take a hit for him out. Would I have taken Alanga out for Paqueta? No. It's screaming bench boost 5. Yeah, that's the plan now. That's the plan. We're into the final minute. Let's rattle through some questions. Gay or Senesi to play? If I had to start one, I'd start the Palace defender. I couldn't afford Munoz, so that's why I didn't buy Munoz. That's why I didn't buy Munoz. Williams or Agbadou? I'd start Agbadou over Williams. That was my plan if I didn't buy Senesi. Would I start Guiu or Ilman Ndai? I'd start Ndai over Guiu. Rogers or Reinders? Rogers. Start Van der Ven or Senesi? Senesi. Wood or Anderson? Anderson. Porro or Diouf? Porro over Diouf. Ekatike for Watkins? No. Bench Wood or Kudus? Probably Wood. Sarr to Iwobi? I wouldn't buy Iwobi. Wood or Palmer? I'd start Palmer over Wood. Pedro or Mateta? I'd buy Pedro, but I'd start Mateta. Diouf or Williams? I'd go Diouf. Pedro or Palmer? I'd Pedro. And Bruno or Reinders? Bruno. That is going to be into the final minutes before the deadline. Please go and check your teams. That will be all of the questions you will answer. We are going to do a few things. We're going to do Fantasy Challenge. We're going to talk about a few things after the stream, so don't head off. Go and check your teams, though. If you are heading off, please don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, go and check your teams, make sure everything is locked in the way you want it to be, and that is that. So I did, what did I do? So I did Sarr and Esteve out, Senesi and Paqueta in. -4. plan to bench boost game week 5 now. Good luck this week, everyone. Right, that is going to be, I think the game will have updated. It has. Right, 1 second. Let me just post this and I will... be with you in just a second. 1 minute. I just need... Right, just before we do fantasy challenge, we need to go and have a look at my club team. And I have to say, I am been smashing club over the international break. I have built my team up. It looks great. I took Salah on loan. I've got Mateta, Semenyo, Wirtz, Tonali, Enzo Fernandez, Munoz, Livramento, Lacroix, Anderson, and Verbruggen in goal. If you want to download club, click the QR code here, download it there. My league is there. We've got over 1,000. What are we up to now? We've got over leagues. 1,700 of you in the league. So let's get predictions in the chat. I want to hear the predictions of who you think I'm going to get in this pack. It can be any player in the Premier League. Of course, the better the player, the less likely it is that I'm going to pack them. Club is free to play. Every few hours you get a pack. And if you like the player you pack, you can add them to your lineup. But you have a budget, so you can't just go for everyone that you want. So let's see those predictions. Semenyo, Lacroix, Tavernier. Let's go. Let's see who we're going to get. Last week it was João Pedro. Okay. Oh, it's Elite. Defender. Spurs. Ooh, Christian Romero. See, he's quite good in this game. He's had 17, 18 and 11 points over the past few weeks. I'm going to sign him. Does he definitely... He's ruined my budget though, so I might have to get rid of him. He's probably not going to get in my defense this week, so I'm going to release him. But if you want to download it, please get in the league. It is so much fun. I play it every single day. Get involved and we look at it every single stream after the deadline. Now let's go back and let's play Fantasy Challenge. This is my lineup, how it is set. I'm going to have to take out a Nori. I'm going to put in Gvardiol, I think. It's not. And then basically you get matched against another player and then it's like a FPL head-to-head every week. So I'm going with this, I think. Donnarumma, Gvardiol, De Ligt, Bruno, and Burmo, Haaland, captain. So that is all. And that is all for this week. How many free transfers can we keep this year? Still 5. How does club work? So it's free to play. Every few hours you get the ability to go into the app and pack a player. And if you like the player, you add them to your lineup. And every Premier League weekend or midweek, you get matched up against someone. And if you win, you get more points and rewards. Whereas if you lose, you don't get them. But you do have a budget, so you can't just pack everyone and keep everyone. I am going to head off because, of course, I am at a wedding today. So I need to go and get changed because I'm leaving in about half an hour to go. Good luck, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Hopefully, Paqueta scores. I don't mind if Chris Wood scores that much, to be honest, because at least I have him and can keep him. Good luck, everyone, this week. Have a lovely weekend, and I will catch you all very soon.